Welcome to the anime classroom, and today we are talking about Blue Box. Okay, so Blue Box is a phenomenon, I should say, on Netflix. I had several people recommend to me to watch Blue Box. You must be watching Blue Box, or I can't watch Apothecary Diaries. I can't watch Freeland because I'm watching Blue Box right now. Blue Box is a romantic comedy slash anime that is actually really beautifully animated. I actually got taken away by the animation. I wouldn't call it top tier animation, but I would say it's pretty close. It's done in a really different art style. Let me see if I can make it do this again. Let's go back to it. Yeah, okay. So it has this little. Nope. Nope. I do not want to watch it. Nope. Go back. Maybe I just have to do this. So yeah, the animation quality is really kind of cool, and I do like that Netflix does these kind of previews. The only thing I hate about it being a Netflix exclusive, right, is I don't get credit for my end of the year Crunchyroll view for watching a lot of Netflix series, and I do like My Happy Marriage, which is fantastic. Um, Blue Box, I'm gonna tell you right now, is worth watching. I give it like a 7.9 out of 10, which I've seen over 3,000 anime. So you can say that 7.9 is actually really high, but I do grade it under like Rent a Girlfriend or Quintuplets, My Happy Marriage. A lot of romantic comedies, I do grade this down. And I actually like the genre. Watching the romantic anime for the first time last year, and I actually think it's really cute and adorable. But this is not top tier as far as romantic comedies go. I do like it. I do think it's worth watching. There's some localization issues that have come out recently about Blue Box, about them changing the thing from like one of the characters starts talking about how it's weird that Snow White falls in love with the prince, and the girl character, which was the pink hair girl, who is voiced by the English actress that plays Amelia, Kylie Mills. But I'm sure the Japanese does it too because I checked the sub afterwards and they had the same line. But in the manga depicts Cairo, which is the guy doing his view on Snow White, and the pink hair girl, who's Hina, says that's feminist. That's a very feminist perspective of you. Now, in the manga, the source material that this is based on, it actually says that's very feminine of you, and the localizers changed the word from feminine to feminist. Now, I'm 100% against localization for the most part. There are some small examples that I could say that localization made something better for the American audience. Like when anime was first hitting in America with Toonami, right? And a lot of people who are older than me are gonna say, "No, it hit before. We had Gundam. We had a bunch of other things that, like in the 1970s and 80s, and let's not kid ourselves. Most of us thought anime was cartoons till Toonami came out. All right." So with the localization of Sailor Moon, where they changed a whole big story where Neptune and Uranus were actually lovers in the original manga, and then they got switched to cousins in the English. I actually thought that was a good localization. Hear me out. I see your pitchforks. Hear me out. This show was marketed to kids. My parents would have never allowed me to see Sailor Moon if that was the storyline, if the original manga was the storyline. And I probably would have gotten into anime a lot later, or never got into anime at all. So, the thing about it is, there's a few instances where I think you can have localization, and I think you can have the actual closer source material and have two different shows, like Sailor Moon. And everyone I talk to, okay, so Sailor Moon Crystal is closer to the manga storyline than the original Sailor Moon show. But me and everybody else talk about the original Sailor Moon show. It was a better built together anime, even though it didn't follow the source material 100%. Alright? That is a very rare example. another counter example to that is like Full Metal Alchemist, right? Who wants to watch the original Full Metal Alchemist after Brotherhood came out? Nobody, because because Brotherhood follows the manga. It follows the actual story, which is great. So there are arguments to be made on both sides. However, as a general rule, it should be the original. It should be. Sailor Moon is one of the rare examples that I'm glad that there was a little bit localization put into it. But that's I can't think of another example that I would be in favor of. Alright? Here, Blue Box here shouldn't be switching words. It shouldn't be, in episode, I think it was 16 or 17, doing this kind of crap. However, switching out the words feminine for feminists, and I'm not part of the feminist movement. I think it's bad, alright? But feminine for feminists movement, I don't think it's the worst thing that you could have put there. I don't agree with it, right? But again, I think the controversy is not warranted for this, but I think the controversy happened because we have other instances in other animes where they completely change the story or what's being said because the localizers are trying to put their own spin on everything, that they're trying to put their own politics in everything. So in this instance, I don't think it's as bad as like everyone's making out to be, but because of things in the past, they're upset, and I get why they're upset. I'm upset too, but it didn't ruin the experience. Okay, Blue Box is worth watching. It was a fun watch for a season. Like I said, what really drew me to Blue Box is the artwork. I think the artwork is gorgeous in it. I don't think it's the best artwork I've ever seen. I think ReZero is better. I think Attack on Titan was better. I think Apothecary Diaries is better. I say Apothecary Diaries a lot lately because I'm just so happy with season 2. I think there is a lot of anime that has better artwork. Dan Dan's and Dan. I would never be able to say that title of that name, alright? But I do like it. I think the Dan Dan anime has amazing, like anime changing artwork in it. And animation, the way the characters move, and it's just gorgeous. I think this is way above average for animation, but I don't think it's game-changing animation, if that makes any sense. Alright, so like I said, let me get into the actual story now, okay. I'm gonna try to describe the story without doing any spoilers, so if you have not watched it, it should be safe to still listen to me, okay? Blue Box focuses on a guy who is a badminton player, right? And he ends up falling in love with this basketball girl right here that you see. And they have a big work ethic, right? They try practicing every morning, and they're always the first to show up for the respective teams, so they end up like kind of chilling together. However, it turns out this girl is moving overseas with her family because her parents got a different job, and she has a dream about going to nationals and winning. And because she has that dream, the guy has the dream about going to nationals and winning a badminton tournament, right? So he finds out that his crush that he's developed over this time is leaving, and he's sad. And he starts talking to her about her dreams and everything, and how he wishes that she could complete her dream, and it like sparks something in her. And that's just the first episode. After that, the guy finds out that his mom and her mom are best friends, and their mom struck a deal that she gets to stay in Japan for the term of her high school experience. I forget if they're in high school or middle school. It's one of those. I think it's high school. But she gets to stay for her high school experience, right? And she still has 2 years left. He has 3 years, so she's a year older than him. But she gets dropped off at his house, and she lives with him for the next 2 years in order so that she can play basketball for the school team. And he is, surprised at first, but it turns out it becomes a blessing, and they start forming a bond. And then a love triangle happens between the pink hair girl, her, and him. and it's done pretty well. I think the love triangle was done pretty well. I just hate how long it lasted. The love triangle happens for like 20 episodes before it gets resolved. And not episode 20, I'm saying for like 20 episodes once you find out that there is a love triangle, right? Um but it's done really well. I think the story has potential. I can't wait for season 2, but it's only going to be a 7.9 for right now, unless something really incredible happens in season 2. I actually fully expect the anime to not have a better second season than it did the first season, but I don't know. If they start dating the two main characters and we get a look at the relationship while they're dating in season 2, I think that could be potentially great. So we will have to see what the future holds. I do not read the manga. There's very few mangas I read other than Boruto, because Boruto's manga is way better than the anime. There's so far they're changing up the anime, so the anime may stop using filler and actually use canon episodes. I'm kind of excited for Boruto to come back, but there are very few animes I read, or very few mangas I read ahead, because I don't want to ruin the surprise of the anime. So, if that does happen, please do not spoil it in the comments for other people who have not watched the series yet. But if you think it is going to be incredible because you have read the manga, please feel free to comment and say you are going to be thrilled, or you're going to be happy in the future watching Blue Box. But right now, this is a very popular series on Netflix, and it does deserve some of its hype, and other things I think is too hyped for it. Okay, that's all I got on the anime classroom on Blue Box.